Welcome back to another episode of Ask the Attorney. I'm your host, Alex Alexander with Client Focus Media. Today, it's my pleasure to bring Jonathan Wilson from FinCEN Report Company. That's FinCENReport.com. Welcome, Jonathan. How are you today?
Doing great, Alex. How are you?
I'm incredible, and thank you for asking, sir. So we'll kind of jump into it. You and I were speaking a little bit before we came on camera, and you are unique in many aspects, and I want the world to know about this. First and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, the show is called Ask the Attorney, so you have been and are an attorney. Tell us about yourself real quick.
Sure. So I'm an attorney, and I've been in practice for 31 years. I went to college at William & Mary up in Virginia, went to law school at GW Law School in Washington, D.C., and then got my first job here in Atlanta back in 1991. So I've been in legal practice now for 31 years. Most of that has been with large law firms, but there are about 7 years in the middle there where I was the in-house general counsel of Web.com, the website hosting company. That piggybacked on some experiences I had back in college when I founded my first software company. And I'm here to talk to you today about my new software company, which is FinCENReport.com, the FinCEN Report Company. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
So let's get right into this. First of all, FinCEN. It's FinCEN, and this is short for
the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network of the U.S. Treasury. It's basically an agency of the U.S. Treasury, and what it's involved in is fighting money laundering. That's basically how bad guys take the cash they get from doing illegal things and then inject it into the financial system, into a legitimate business, pay taxes on it, and then that cash looks like it's the product of a legitimate business. And the way that the bad guys do that is by using anonymous corporations. You might see this sometimes on TV when, the good guys are trying to catch the bad guys and they say, I can't tell who owns all these accounts. There's this bunches of shell corporate anonymous accounts here. That's exactly the outcome that this new law that FinCEN is going to implement is designed to protect. The new law is called the Corporate Transparency Act, and it was passed by Congress back in December of 2020. And if you remember, December of 2020 was right after the election and right before the events of January 6th, so the mainstream media completely missed it. But it's a new law that requires almost every private company in the United States to file this document with FinCEN, this aspect of the U.S. Treasury Department, that discloses all kinds of confidential information about the owners of that company. And what my company does is it helps business owners, entrepreneurs, and the owners of private companies comply with the new law by filing their reports in a secure and confidential manner.
So to kind of give a little bit of clarity, when you're saying private information, obviously each and every beneficiary of the business, right? If myself, we have both an LLC and a C corp. So in the C corp, obviously, we have individuals who form together to run this company. I also have an LLC that is myself and another person who are running the business together. So in this particular aspect, both these businesses have to have every person that has the information that every person that benefits from the company itself, right? Direct beneficiaries of the company. You have to have all our private information housed somewhere. So in order to get this information to the government, you're going to be the intercessor, making sure that it's private getting to a point. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. So let's say that you and I form an LLC today, the Jonathan Alex Company, okay? And let's say we own it 50-50. So you and I would both be beneficial owners under this new law. And what the new law requires is that our new company, the Jonathan Alex Company, is going to have to file this report with FinCEN that gives your full legal name, your residential address, your date of birth, and then a unique document, in this case either your passport or your driver's license, along with a photocopy of that document. And the same thing for me, for both of us, it would be included. And the problem is that you and I just don't want to exchange that information by email. You don't really want to write it down on a piece of paper and then fax it to the government because that's not secure. That's all information that might be used for your information theft, for the security of your financial accounts, for example. So what our company does, what FinCENReport.com does, is it allows you to create a personal data repository. And you would put all that confidential information in the repository. It then gets encrypted. Then when our new company, the Jonathan Alex Company, files its report, it takes that encrypted data, inserts it into the report, files it with the government, keeps a copy of the receipt to show that you filed your report, but our respective data remains confidential. I don't know your driver's license, you don't see my driver's license, and vice versa. That's how it works.
So, and of course, from there, whatever the government, we'll say government, is doing this information, it would be held on their private servers or whatever the case may be at that point, correct?
That's right. The idea under the law is that FinCEN is going to have its own confidential database of all of this sensitive data, and it will be available to certain law enforcement agencies if they have probable cause to request it. That's not something my company controls, obviously. Once the government has data, it's the government's data.
Right.
But the data that individuals will put into the FinCEN Report Company database is going to be encrypted and stored on the same types of encrypted servers that your bank uses, for example, when you do your online banking. It'll have that level of security in it.
So this is something I think everybody should take heed of and know about. Obviously, my personal, I had no idea, no clue. I was reading this stuff before we came on, obviously, and going through your website. By the way, good job on that. And looking through some of the information, I see some of the ones that are excluded, banks, that kind of thing, that they're already in fiduciary. So I understand why some of that is. I think this would be a good idea. And I'm going to bring you back, by the way, on another one called another show of mine. It's 5 minutes with. I really think we should get this more information of this out. It's a good idea. So here's the kind of running out of time today. I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning into this episode of Ask the Attorney. But before we go, if you guys have any questions about this, I want you to go to FinCENReport.com. That's FINCEN report.com. Get a hold of Jonathan Wilson. He should be able to answer the questions and help you file these things you need to be filing. Until then, do something good for yourself and do something good for others.